Welcome to 1043 The Fan. I'm Max Haber. This is Ethan Strader and James Scott. James and Ethan will be discussing the topic of who will win NBA Finals MVP. James, who do you think?
Well, I think the Warriors are going to win, and I think Curry's going to win the MVP because even though he had a bad game in Game 5, he had been carrying the team through the first 4 games. In Game 4, he had like 40-something points, and they definitely would not have won the game without him. He's winning games for his team, and that makes him valuable. And so he would be the most valuable player of the series.
Ethan, what do you think?
I also definitely think that the Warriors are going to win the series. But I think Andrew Wiggins might win the MVP. He's been stellar on defense, shutting Jason Tatum down. In the past 2 games, he scored 16 points and 26 or 28. I don't know. Yeah, something like that.
James, anything else you have
Well,
to say?
I think that Wiggins has been good, especially last game. And like last game, Curry did have a bad game. But I just think the first 4 games from Curry were like so much better than the first 4 games of Wiggins or really anyone else on the Warriors and probably anyone else in the series. That I think even though Game 5 was like a bad game for him, like uncharacteristic, I still think he can win the Finals MVP, and he should.
So even, let's say the Warriors don't win the series and the Boston Celtics do win in 7. Do you think Steph Curry or Andrew Wiggins will still win it, or will it be a Boston Celtic?
No, I don't. I think it'll be a Celtic because they never really give the Finals MVP to the losing team. So I'm saying Curry will win it, assuming that the Warriors will win the series.
I also think that if the Celtics do win the finals, it will be a Boston Celtic. But I think with the game that the Warriors just won, it's highly unlikely that the Celtics do win the finals.
All right, on to our next topic. Our next topic is, will the Packers make a deep playoff run? Ethan?
Absolutely yes. They have Aaron Rodgers, the reigning back-to-back MVP. They've also got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. That's a great 1-2 punch at running back. Most of their offensive line is returning, and that was a great offensive line last season. They added Christian Watson to their team with the 34th overall pick. It wasn't a first-round pick, but it was pretty close to it. And they've got Randall Cobb, who has a great relationship with Aaron Rodgers, and Robert Tonyan, who is one of the most underrated tight ends in the NFL.
All right.
James?
I do agree that Robert Tyn's pretty good, but I just don't think – I think the Packers will only make the playoffs because they have a very weak division. So I think they can make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make a good run because we've seen, even with Devontae Adams in like these past few years, the Packers have even struggled in the playoffs. Like last year, you look at it, they lost a game in the divisional round that they're not supposed to lose to the 49ers. So number one, they have like a history
The reason we lost in the divisional round is because of our special teams unit, of the special teams unit of the Packers. But they addressed that problem with adding Rich Bisaccia, the Raiders coach, and we have a great defense, and defense is what wins games.
But they scored like 10 points in that game. Like, their offense wasn't great either.
Yeah, and San Francisco would have scored less if the Packers' special teams had been better.
Yeah, but I'm saying that their offense is getting worse, and I don't think their defense is going to be able to have like great games every time.
All right. Realistically, how far can the Packers go?
I think Super Bowl.
I think they can win a playoff game, so I think like the very farthest they can make is the NFC Championship, but I don't think they will, honestly. I think divisional round or sooner probably they'll lose.
And is it possible they don't win their division? Or is that automatic?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think it's unlikely.
When you look at the Vikings,
The
Vikings are the next closest team, and they are fairly but they don't really have. I mean, they've got Justin Jefferson, but the Packers have 3 starting caliber cornerbacks with Russell Douglas, Eric Stokes, and Jair Alexander. They can easily shut down the Vikings.
I think it's possible, but I don't. The Bears and Lions aren't. I'm going to say that. They're not going to win the division. The Vikings probably not. But theoretically, they probably could, but they're not going to.
All right. Thank you. I'm Max Haber, and this is 1043 The Fan.